Hey, all my Aquarius friends. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an intuitive astrologer, and I'm here today with your October 2024 monthly horoscope. These horoscopes are based on whole sign Western astrology. So when I'm talking about Aquarius, I'm referring to Aquarius rising as the first house and dictating the landscape of the chart. This is also applicable to Aquarius Sun, Aquarius Moon, and if you have three or more personal planets in the sign of Aquarius, this video is applicable to you as well. When I refer to a day and a time, it's based on the Pacific time zone, so please adjust for your location. The month starts off with a solar eclipse, the last one of the year. It's happening in the sign of Libra, and that is your ninth house. We will see Pluto move direct in your second house, and we will see Jupiter retrograde in Gemini in your fifth house. So let's pull up the chart and go over the aspects. We see that the month starts off on the 2nd at 11:49 a.m. Pacific time with a solar eclipse in Libra at 10 degrees. This is the last, again, eclipse of the year. And this is a new moon where the sun and the moon have come together in the darkest phase of the moon to plant the seeds for a new experience, for a new sense of cooperation, harmony, balance, a sense of flow within partnership. Now, Libra is your ninth house. So the partnership here is really the partnership with the divine. The ninth house represents the connection to the angelic realm. It's naturally the house of Sagittarius. And here, when I see this at 10 degrees, I can't help but see a series of ones in the chart. First, the moon and the sun. Then we see Mercury conjunct this new moon. And then Venus is also at 11 degrees. Pluto is at 29 degrees retrograde, which reduces down to an 11, the 29. Neptune is at 28 degrees, reduces down to a 10. So this all speaks to me that this new moon is very much about my thoughts are manifesting very quickly. Make sure that I'm aligned to the things I want to experience. Now we see this new moon in your ninth house conjunct the South Node. The South Node is a place where we release toxic energies, where there's a sense of potential loss or erosion, but it's usually things that are out of balance that we've come to depend upon, but could potentially be crippling us. So here, I think this is really a point where potentially for my Aquariuses, there could be old thought patterns, old belief systems, old ideologies that no longer serve you. And I think that's further evidenced by Mercury's conjunction at 11 degrees. The 11th degree is your natural number as you rule the 11th house. So I think this is going to be very powerful. Now, we also see that this new moon solar eclipse is in a square aspect to Mars in Cancer in your sixth house of work, of your health, of how you process information and how you show service or are of service to others. It's also the sixth house rules our pets. Mars is in fall in Cancer, so it's having to swim through the emotions of other people. This could be a spiky workplace where people have been cranky or non-cooperative, and Aquarius is so outside of the box, so forward thinking that you could inadvertently find that some of your ideologies, some of your ideas, some of your processes have been in conflict with others. And this new moon solar eclipse will give you an opportunity to stretch yourself. One of the things about Mars is it's a pioneer. It is willing to go into new territory. Now, in order to go into new territory, one must be flexible, flexible about how I operate. And here, this is about the emotional landscape. And naturally, Aquarius is not considered emotional. Aquarius is considered more analytical because it goes into those hypotheses that takes us into potentials that we have never experienced as humans. So this is a tense square offering you an opportunity in this moon phase to plant the seeds for potentially more cooperation, for potentially more awareness of the hero inside of you, your innovative ideas. And while you may not be able to see how that's going to play out right now, part of this is planting those seeds in faith. So I think this is important. We also see at this time that Mars is in a trine to Saturn, and Saturn's in a trine to Venus, and Venus is in a trine to Mars. It's called a grand trine. This is not tight right now. It will increase as Venus moves, but I think this is important because Pisces is your second house of money. Again, Cancer is your sixth house of work. And then Scorpio is your 10th house of career. So planting the seeds for this awareness and planting the seeds for a new, it's not giving up your power or your ideas. It's about opening the floor for others. Or opening a space for others to feel powerful within your presence. And I think that's being supported by this trine because we see that we have Saturn asking me, or Aquarius, to really root in my talents, my skills, my ability to make money through my connection to the divine. And then rather than trying to escape my skills, embracing them because they're fluid. And that's not always easy for a fixed sign to be, is fluid. And the opportunity that the trine presents here is for people to experience that fluidity through your braveness of allowing other people or even yourself to, I guess what I'm looking for is more a conversational thing, an exchange of ideas and energy, because that's what Mercury is speaking to me right now during this eclipse, and what Venus has to offer me in the way of Scorpio being your 10th house of career gives you an opportunity to be seen in a more soft, more cooperative light. That's what I'm looking at. And I'm not trying to say that you're not cooperative. I just think sometimes that Aquarius can be so broad in your ideas. It's kind of like Jupiter, that the average human doesn't relate to what you're saying. And so here, this is an opportunity to be brave in your awareness of the emotions of others and recalibrating the communications. I hope that makes sense for you. It kind of makes sense for me. Let's go on to the 9th, where we will see Jupiter retrograde in Gemini, which is your 5th house of romance, the house that where our creative genius is expressed, the house where we enjoy things, our hobbies, things that entertain us, where we conceive children, where we learn about romance. So this is kind of exciting. So here's Jupiter. Now, again, this is your 5th house, and Jupiter's making kind of a funky aspect to Venus right now. It's of quincunx, is sort of a blind side. Again, I think maybe at this time you'll be revisiting ideas and opportunities as a result of the shift in your belief system or a shift in how you're thinking. This is evidenced by that new moon solar eclipse. I think that you will not be able to see your progress potentially, but you'll be able to maybe feel it. When I see a quincunx, it always makes me feel like I'm driving down a windy road. And I have a certain feel for the road, but whatever's coming up, I can't see. I can't plan for it. I have to sort of be ready to be intuitive in my actions. And that's what I think this conversation between Jupiter and Venus is. And then the Sun and Mercury are supporting this idea of the expansion of my thoughts as I integrate my way of being with my way of being as I interact with my workmates, my teammates, my community, the mercurial energies. It could even be interacting with the media and how you present on your social platforms. So Jupiter is going to give you an opportunity to revisit the things that you find enjoyable, how you want to express yourself, how you want to broaden yourself, and revisit looking at the details of things, because that's where Jupiter is challenged. Jupiter is in detriment here in Gemini, but as it is in detriment, it is also a world traveler and used to the diversity that experiences offer us, varying experiences. So this retrograde will take place until February 2024, and then basically February 4th, 2025. Sorry, that rolled off my tongue kind of fast. And so that review will give you an opportunity to implement when it moves forward. We will see Pluto go direct in your 12th house on the 11th, and that's October 11th. I can't help but just see those ones all over again. Let me take this off of Jupiter. And we haven't quite got there yet. But if we notice, Pluto has stationed at 29 degrees, 38 minutes. So as we get later in the day, this is going to continue for probably days before Pluto actually moves forward into that 0 degree of Aquarius. So from October 11th until November, I believe, 19th, we're going to see Pluto stationed at this 29th degree, accentuating the underbelly of our thoughts that are imprinted upon us. That, when you're a little kid and you're told you're really smart, you believe it. And when you're told you're not smart, you believe that too. This is evidenced here in your 12th house. There's something karmic that is being cleared up that has to do with your history, has to do with repressing you, has to do with holding you back in some way, or feeling that you can't express yourself in your fullness. And the ideas that are coming up are supported by not only the trine to Uranus in Taurus, which is your 4th house. So somewhere you're unraveling something from your rooted experience, how you were nurtured. And it's also giving you a sense of spirituality as we look at your Pisces energy, which is your 2nd house, and giving you an opportunity to integrate your experiences from a soul's point of view, knowing that if you experience something challenging or negative, it was there to present contrast, to inspire you into a new direction. We also see Mercury in a square with Pluto right now. So this could very much be bringing up, again, challenges of people, how I'm communicating. It could even be the kind of things I'm hearing. The media is very much in focus right now as we're going through this presidential election, unprecedented presidential election in the United States. And even if you're not in the United States, it is affecting you on the world stage. So while you, Aquarius, are experiencing your 9th house beliefs, the Libra 9th house energy, you could find yourself wanting to expand and be a little frustrated with the things that you're experiencing, as if Mercury is dumbing you down right now, or the media, it might even be a little insulting because you can see the underbelly. That's just the way I want to put it. Okay, let's move on to the 13th. I'm actually going to go to the 14th, but on the 13th, Mercury will move into Scorpio. But here on the 14th, we see that Mercury is conjunct the Shapley attractor. The Shapley attractor is a point within the Shapley cluster where we are releasing false attachments. At the end of September, Venus was conjunct this point, releasing false attachments about money, about her beauty, about sex. Now Mercury is releasing false attachments to thoughts, to ways of speaking, to anyone who has power and control over me that isn't aligned to my deeper truth. We experience these points every year, but oftentimes we do it without consciousness. So as you're aware that the fall season offers those personal planets so much expansion as they go through the Libra energy, the Scorpio energy, and the Sagittarius energy, and hit those points in the Shapley cluster. So this is really powerful because in a couple of days, the sun will, or in about a week, the sun will hit that point. So we will see now Mercury addressing our mind and our speech and our interactions with others. And then the sun will address our ego expression out into the world. We also see that Venus is in a growing opposition. Well, she's in an actual exact opposition here to Uranus. And I really think that this is a push between old and new somehow. Venus, again, is here in Scorpio, which is your 10th house. So there could be something, a push-pull between how you are expected to be, how the 10th house is your public status, your reputation within your community. Now you're liberating yourself. You've been experiencing a series of epiphanies. Your ruling planet, Uranus, has been going through your 4th house of home, how you were imprinted through your roots, how you were nurtured. And Taurus can be a little rigid and a little slow, and Uranus is a little bit much quicker, much faster energy, rockets in flight. So this opposition could very well be you experiencing other people's vision of you, and you're feeling a sense of a wobble with it. You haven't maybe rooted into your complete self-confidence about how you want to process your transformation. Let me kind of put it a little bit more succinctly. I'm a very self-confident person. I don't mind giving my opinion. And as I have aged, my opinions about certain things have shifted. And so I feel like I'm not actually as hot. I have an Aries rising. I think I'm more diplomatic, and I can facilitate my Libra sun a little bit more. And so I'm basically saying the same things, but I'm saying them differently. So I think for my Aquariuses, this opposition could somehow be your feeling, your evolution, your new awarenesses, and yet Venus is somehow, wanting to still please others, or wanting others to applaud my new thoughts, and it may not be happening just yet. Because we also see an opposition between Pluto, and a growing opposition between Pluto and Mars, and that's going to get more tense as the month goes on, and we're about to see the planets squaring off, meaning we're going to see 2 T-squares when we go into our full moon, and that's on the 17th. Let's jump over there right now. 17th at 4:26 a.m. I don't mind telling you all, it's my birthday on this full moon. So here we see the sun and the moon are in a complete opposition, where the moon is reflecting the brightest phase of the sun, and the moon is conjunct Chiron. Chiron is the wound that we carry, and this wound is in a T-square to Mars. So we see, when we click on Mars, we see there's a square to the sun, there's a square to the moon, and this is with the focal point being here at Mars. Now, if we click off of Mars and we click onto Pluto, we see the same thing. There's a square here. So we have a grand square with the focal points of this full moon being 2 malefic planets that are accentuating the opportunity for transformation, for an awareness of our angers, our resentments, our bluntness, our way of being, how we're interacting. Again, Cancer is your 6th house. And Aquarius, with so much innovation and so much, Aquarius is literally, you can see sometimes Aquarius coming down the street because they're so willing to be themselves. If you love vintage stuff, you'll wear vintage clothing. If you like to dye your hair different colors, you will. If you're totally into science, we'll see that uniqueness within you. So here, this uniqueness can also feel a little bit like exile. It can feel a little bit like I'm not part of the crowd. And I feel like this is allowing, as you allow for the ebb and the flow of an exchange of ideas, while you still stay true to yourself, I think, yes, you'll feel the tension and the underbelly of your psychology here in your 12th house of Capricorn, but it's also supported by this beautiful sextile to Venus and to Neptune and to Uranus up here in your 4th house, meaning the trine. So this full moon has an opportunity to illuminate for you somewhere where there's a combination of your exciting willingness to move forward and something tethering you to an old story and a push-pull between the two things. And I think when you surrender to that push-pull and you're like, okay, I get it. Because again, there's something about an exchange, being emotionally aware of how I interact with others can help me be a more effectual service to others. It might also help support my health in a better way. I can't explain why I'm getting such this strong energy of Aquarius not being so far out into the future that they're not relatable to today. We've got to integrate that somewhere. And that full moon is probably illuminating that. All right. We will also see Venus move into Sagittarius later in the day, which she's going to be very happy about because it'll get her out of that feeling of, when Venus is in Scorpio, she can feel a little powerless. She can feel like a sex object. She can feel as if she's not respected for her mind. So here, when she moves into Sagittarius, she's feeling the expansion of Sagittarius. She's feeling the opportunity to really look to her philosophies and her ideologies and to be curious about other cultures and other things. This is in your 11th house. I believe that you have an opportunity when Venus moves into Sagittarius to really feel your hopes, your dreams, that they're not that far off. You naturally rule the 11th house. This is a house that matures over time. And as Venus transits this house through the rest of October and then even into November, you will have an opportunity to take advantage of other points within the Shapley cluster. At 14 degrees, Venus is able to attract the resources that she needs as she connects to her divinity, her meditations, calling forth the universe to bring forth the resources that she needs to move forward. So I think that this is going to be a nice transit for you. We're still feeling the effects of Mars's growing opposition to Pluto, which is putting a focus on some of the planets as we move forward, meaning right now it's the sun and how I assert myself. But I think this opposition is most important to pay attention to because it could get very hot and very angry. It could get very angry. All right, let's go to the 22nd. I think that also has a lot to do with the election year and the environment that's being fostered at this time. It's very polarizing. So as you're aware of that, you can sort of step outside of those interactions. I think that's the wisest thing to do. We can see here as the sun is at 29 degrees of Libra, we're feeling this T-square. So I should go a little later in the day to get the sun into, I'm actually going to go the next day. Because as the sun moves onto the Shapley attractor, again, we're going to visit that opportunity to really release any false attachments to my ego expression, to why am I driving myself so hard? Is it because I'm really looking for the applause of the audience, to the group, or am I playing to my own individual passions that then draw in the people that support those passions? I think this is really powerful, and I think it's going to be a little bit in our face, to be honest with you. I think that the way the dynamics are rolling for some of the outer planets are supporting transformation that comes in this series of waves and experiences, and the personal planets as they move around are are facilitating those individual experiences. I hope that made sense. Felt like I got a little lofty there. Let's go now to the end, last week of the month. This is where I think Venus and her conversation with Saturn gets a little tense. Where is Venus? There she is. She is in a tight square to Saturn. And this is where I believe, especially for, and I don't want to say especially, but for everyone, but Aquarius is so forward thinking, so again, willing to connect with concepts that don't make sense in the earthly realm. Venus is being tasked in this moment. While Sagittarius is your 11th house, Pisces is your second house of your voice, creating a strong dynamic with your spiritual practices in order to create the resources you need. So for you, Aquarius, as Venus goes, hits that great attractor anywhere between 5 to 10 degrees as she gets into an alignment at 14 degrees, you going into those ceremonies, those rituals, those meditations, those affirmations, those vision boards that align to what you want. Saturn will start to bring those experiences, but it feels weird because it's almost like you're talking to air and asking the air to bring things to you. But the laws of attraction, we're an attracting universe. We work in tandem with the energy. And so here, Venus is feeling a bit of an opposition with Jupiter. But this square is what's really the challenge, because she's having to sit down and rather than take physical action, she's got to take emotional action. She's got to be willing to look at her history of lack and then let that history go to declare the abundance she wants, or the relationships she wants, or the experiences she wants, whatever is in that 11th house of hopes and dreams for you, Aquarius. So important. All right. Now I'll just go quickly to the end of the month, the 31st. And things are pretty much similar, but we really see this opposition now taking hold. And while there's supportive aspects to Mercury here and to the South Node and to Uranus and Neptune, this opposition feels very challenging for me. So we're looking at the cusp of your first and second house and your 7th and your 8th house. So when we look at that, we're looking at transformation. And when we look at the degrees, we're looking at those mastering degrees of thought, 29th degree, 28th degree, all reduced down to an 11. So the month ends with this very much attention of not being completely aware of Pluto's the great disruptor, okay? Because Pluto says, if you don't come from your heart, I'm going to kill every lie you tell yourself. I'm going to remove every crutch that you have that won't allow you your own personal power. And that's fighting with Mars right now, because Mars wants to hang out and be a little pissed off. But I wanted it to be this way. I wanted it to be easier, or I wanted to not have to release one thing to have another thing. And that could very well be a philosophy that you have, that I have to do it by myself. And if I don't do it by myself, it won't happen. Mars is very individualistic, and Pluto works with other people, their money, their psychology, and their bodies. Okay, I'm going to stop my share right now. I have a very psychological way of looking at astrology. I believe wholeheartedly that we are co-creators and that our vibration works in tandem with the universe. And so when I look at these planets, I see them all as facets of me, facets of my personality, facets of my soul. So as you look at it as facets of yourself, you'll see that sometimes the greatest benefits come from the squares and the oppositions, and that the softer aspects can tether us to old habits that don't serve us. So I hope this helps you for October. The months are going to get more exciting and in some ways a little scary, but we'll be okay. You're a natural revolutionary. You're a natural libertarian. You're a natural forward thinker. So this should be a little bit easier for you than maybe some of the other signs. All right, Aquarius, thank you so much for listening. Again, my name is Teri Hunter. I'm an intuitive astrologer, and I'm a psychic as well. If you'd like to get a reading with me, my information is below in the description, and I'll be back in November with your monthly horoscope. See you then. Bye-bye.